It's new comic book day, but first let's talk about everything I read in the last week. To start off, we have Night Fight number 4. This is the finale of the Night Fight spin-off miniseries from DCKO, which I really enjoyed. I know there's a lot of weird stuff. I think I had a lot of complaints for it, but they weren't things that ruined the story for me. I think a lot of it was a lot of fun, actually. For this issue specifically, I thought it was really cool to see how Damien's world turns out, or at least this version of Damien with his son down here. I thought it was really interesting that we had the most canon version that we've seen of Jason and Rose, and they even have a daughter, which I thought was crazy. I wonder if that'll play in sometime later. I've been hearing that there's plans for Jason. They want to do more with him, and it kind of feels like that way. They've kind of been spotlighting Jason in a lot of different ways, and a lot of different books, and Elseworld books, and mainline books. I'm curious to see what their plan is for Jason, and if it's good, because he does desperately need like a good book. It's been a long time. I do think a lot of the stuff that was in this series is kind of wasted if it's never revisited. I think a lot of the bat suits are cool. Some of the stuff that you did in the future timelines were cool. I know technically this isn't like an alternate universe or timeline. It's more like a reality built out of Bruce's subconsciousness, but I wonder if the bat box he gave to Alfred might have something to do later down the line. Like it might canonize their world, like make it real, which I think that would be really interesting. Hopefully that's the case, because I think a lot of the stuff in here could definitely be revisited, and there's a lot to explore with it. Next, I also read Batman number 6. This is Matt Fraction's current run. I'm really enjoying this one. The more I think about it, the more I read it, the more I seem to enjoy it. You know, there's a lot to explore, and I really like a lot of the stuff that they're talking about in the series. I know the big one that a lot of people are talking about for this issue is that Tim Drake is retiring. It doesn't feel like a permanent retire. I mean, it's obviously not a permanent retire. I wonder though what they're going to do with that retirement. You know, like he chose to leave to spend more time with Bernard, and kind of just personally he felt like he wanted to leave, and I wonder if there's a story to explore with that. Like, what does his retirement look like? What brings him back into the fray? Like, is this going to be like a revival of sorts of like Tim Drake coming back into the hero world, but as a new moniker, a new identity? That would be really interesting, especially because there's 2 concurrent Robins at the time. So I think it would be beneficial to have some distinction between the two. We also get kind of hints of Damien maybe leaving. That's probably why he's lashing out at Tim for wanting to leave and kind of officially leaving. I think Damien is kind of like unsure if he wants to leave yet. You know, he got accepted into Gotham University. Medical school is probably on the horizon. There's stuff for Damien to do outside of the hero world, and I think they could be playing into that a little bit more. I don't know how far they'll dive into that. I do like that there's some semblance of progression among these characters, though. I think that's very refreshing. Batgirl 16, I am not enjoying this series, but I really like Cassandra Cain, so I have to stick it out, especially since this specific issue is the end of an arc, so it caps off something. So the next issue is supposed to do a new start. You know, she's coming back to Gotham. She's getting new powers from the current DCKO event. I'm interested to see how she gets those powers, and then I also am hoping that the new arc that they will introduce is refreshing. Like, it'll breathe new life into the series. It'll, you know, course correct some of the stuff that I have issues with in this series. Even this like finale to the arc just felt so hollow, and none of the stuff felt like it had any weight to it. They didn't do enough to build up to this point, and so it didn't feel like there was this earned big moment in the issue. I really also think that Tenji is kind of wasted here. Like, I get that a secret sibling reveal is supposed to be a big shock factor, but what do you do with him after that? Like, now you've introduced a big character. Now he's a pivotal point in the story. Is he just there to be a representation of something? To just be a plot point for Cass? Someone to protect? Someone to yell at? Like, I think he needs to have some sort of identity that makes him important to the story. That's kind of an issue with a lot of the characters in this, is that none of them feel like important parts of the story. They just feel like they're there to service whatever the plot needs at whatever point in time. Hopefully though, the series can get back on track to being good, because I liked how it started off, and she's coming back to Gotham, and it started off in Gotham, so maybe Gotham is the secret sauce here. We'll have to see. And for trades, I got Absolute Batman Volume 2. I was really excited about this one because I stopped on purpose. I stopped reading all of the Absolute titles at issue 6. So I have the first 6 issues of all of them, but I wanted to get the rest of the story in trades. So this is the first of that. This is the first volume 2 of the trades. And I really, really enjoyed it. I really like seeing Bane and these new versions of some of these characters. It was really cool to see how Bane terrorizes Bruce and his friends and just Gotham specifically. It's also very interesting to see the differences and similarities to this Bane versus like the mainline Bane. Like there's a core character in this Bane that is still the original Bane. Like even with all the differences in the character, he's still Bane. So I definitely really enjoy this. I think the Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman are my favorites. Like I think they are the best representation of the Absolute Universe. I think it's kind of a shame that there wasn't like a cohesive guideline through the Absolute Universe. I know it wanted to let the writers explore whatever, but I think if there was this through line of, oh, let's strip away the things that make them them and see if who they are at their core, that's what Absolute Wonder Woman and Batman does, and I think it does it really well. Absolute Wonder Woman Volume 2 also comes out in like a week or so I'm excited about that one as well. I really like that series. We'll see how the Volume 2 is when I get that. And then I also managed to read this in a week, Nightwing New 52. This is definitely a behemoth of a book. It's an omnibus. It's Nightwing, the Prince of Gotham omnibus. It's the entirety of his New 52 run, and it wasn't good. I didn't like it. It wasn't very good, no. The first 2 arcs, you can kind of see how there's like semblance of organization of the arcs, like of the story. There's a clear kind of pattern of, oh, here's the first arc of a villain, here's another arc of a villain, and then suddenly we get interrupted by Death of the Family in the Batman books. We get interrupted some more. He goes to Chicago. Like they explain why he goes to Chicago, but from an outside perspective, like from the writing perspective, I really don't think Chicago was all that important for him to go to. Like that could have been Bloodhaven. I don't know. That didn't need to be Chicago. They actually don't mention Bloodhaven at all in the book, which I thought was crazy. They don't say the word Bloodhaven. Nobody says anything that even is remotely close to Bloodhaven at all, which I don't know if there was some initiative push back then to like not have Nightwing in Bloodhaven, but it was very jarring and kind of off-putting. Even though the first 2 arcs had like kind of a pattern and organization, it was like there was like a clear kind of direction. It was not good, at least not for me. Like I didn't like that type of writing. I think the whole book in general feels like it's more like an outline that it's spitting at me. Like I feel like it's bullet points that are just checking boxes of like, oh, here's this story point. Okay, now let's go here. Let's go here. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it wasn't like enjoyable to read. It wasn't exciting. It felt very dry and hollow. There's no beats of, oh, here's a character development moment. Oh, here's 2 characters interacting. What's their relationship like? We don't explore any of that. It's just like a bunch of stuff happening all at once. And it makes it really like hard to read because I almost don't care about any of these characters and they don't do enough to like help me care about them. Nightwing also like lashes out randomly and it's really off-putting because it's uncalled for and unwarranted, and it's not even like given a reason why he does it. He'll be talking normal to characters, then suddenly he'll just like lash out just to create some character drama, and then he doesn't really explain himself. He just kind of like brushes it off. He maybe apologizes, but it's like really half-hearted. But yeah, I think it wasn't a very good run, which is not a surprise. A lot of New 52 wasn't very good. I think after this I'm reading Rebirth. Grayson technically takes place after this, but I've already read that one. Instead of Grayson, I'm going to be jumping to Rebirth, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be back in Bloodhaven, so that will be a lot of fun. I know Rebirth is probably not as exciting either, and then after Rebirth, it's the Tom Taylor run, and then I'm currently reading the Dan Watters run, so I don't need to catch all the way up to that. But yeah, other than that, this book is not very great. Now let's get into what I got for New Comic Book Day. First, we have DCKO number 4. This is the second to last issue of this event, which I'm excited for. I mean, it's not a super great event. It's just kind of like a fun beat 'em up whatever event. This issue specifically was bringing in the Absolute Trinity into this fold. I don't know if they're literally the Absolute Trinity or just like manifestations of them, because they're evil and they've also never met yet, but in this one it's apparently like they've already met. We'll see how that plays out. I'm not sure. But also, as I said earlier, Night Fight ended and Batman was kind of pulled back into the fray. So we'll see if he gets pulled back into this issue specifically, and we'll see how that plays into his story and the tournament story. Next, we have Immortal Legend number 6. This is the final issue of this Elseworld series. This is like kind of a space common writer series, but it's also written by Kyle Higgins, which is the writer for that New 52 Nightwing. And I can kind of see it. You know, there's a lot of similarities, and I have the same issues with it, where it doesn't feel like it flows right. It doesn't focus on the right things. It feels like it's spitting an outline at you instead of a cohesive story. There was stuff I liked about it, but generally I think it was just kind of mediocre at best. I think a lot of the ideas it presents are more interesting than the actual execution, but we'll see how it finishes off. Maybe this wraps it up in a nice little bow. Probably not, at least not for me, but this is the final issue, so let's see how it, kind of culminates the story. Next, I am getting back into Marvel, or at least trying to. So we have Cyclops #1. I don't know really what's going on with the X-Men right now, or really in Marvel Universe right now. I haven't really been keeping up with current Marvel stuff. It's been a long time since I've read current Marvel stuff, and also a long time since I've read Marvel in general. I think the last stuff I read was like all those Ultimate books, but I also haven't read those in about like a year or so. But I really like Cyclops, and this is like his first #1 in a long time, his first solo series. So we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully it's new reader friendly and easy to jump into. I'm sure it is, but I'm excited to see what this story is, and hopefully I'll like the story. And then I also saw that they had Jed MacKay's Mark Spector Moon Knight #1. Since this is a #1, I decided to pick it up. I don't know if I will continue picking up the series, adding it to my pull list, mostly because I actually have, I think it's the first 3 volumes of MacKay's Moon Knight run, or at least like the first Moon Knight books he wrote. I say that because Marvel loves to relaunch books, and they've relaunched MacKay's Moon Knight like 5 different times, but this one is another relaunch, but also because it's a new arc, a new relaunch, I figured maybe I could jump into this one and kind of read it out, and then I would probably read the other Moon Knight books that I do have, just kind of go back to reading them and see how those are. I've had those for a little bit. I haven't gotten around to reading them, but since they are the first 3 of MacKay's run, they're probably pretty easy to jump into and pretty easy to understand, but I'm gonna read this one first since it is only 1 issue, and we'll see how it is. But yeah, that's everything I read last week. That's everything I got for this week on New Comic Book Day. So let me know what you guys have been reading, what you guys have been getting, and let me know what you guys think.